Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Salmons, and in each episode, we'll uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, I'm joined by Kenneth Ockel, founder of Scale Story, a video-first storytelling agency dedicated to turning scaling founders from unseen into unforgettable. Kenneth helps founders craft cinematic founder films, build their personal brand, and create content aligned that attracts investors, partners, and customers, all through high-quality storytelling rooted in authenticity. Kenneth, welcome to Founders Future. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. That was a beautiful introduction. I genuinely was like, these are lots of wonderful things that I've done. Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Slight remix on the last name there, but it's all good. It's all good. We got there.
We got there. Appreciate that. And would you like, who's this amazing man we're talking about? And we're going to talk about them more. So I'm excited to dive in.
Thank you.
Beautiful. So with all of my guests, I do actually like to start at the beginning of their journey. So do you mind taking me back to briefly what it was that you was doing before you started up Scale Story? And then from there, what was the motivation behind it?
Yeah, I think it nicely ties in because essentially my story begins from about 10 years ago, showing my age a little bit, but I started off within the world of marketing as a videographer, working for loads of different brands and different businesses as a hired gun almost. Anyone who needed video content for whatever reason, be it a wedding, be it an event, be it products, I would basically shoot whatever content they needed. But over the years grew out of love with that. One, because it was so sporadic, but I guess the second thing was there was no kind of real kind of mission behind it. It just was do this for money, basically. So I started working with business owners, and out of what could have been genius, but I believe at the time was just boredom, I started asking them more about their journeys in terms of like, why did you start this business, or why is it that you're able to do this on a daily basis over and over again? Because if we're going to be sat here shooting products for 4 hours, we may as well learn a little bit about each other. And the stories they'd tell me about their companies were way more interesting than the products that they were selling or the events that they were hosting. And that part was fascinating to me. So over the years, I started to weave in a little bit more of what was the essential founder's journey into the video content. And over time, that then grew to become what was essentially a founder story that talked about a product but never showed it. I say this to say, basically, I started a branding agency by mistake because actually there was never an intention to create an agency or to kind of service a specific group of people. I just slowly realized actually there's way more to be done, and there's way more output when you're looking at creating content that actually has more impact than just I film this, you make more money, and everybody's happy. Actually, if we film this in the right way, we can open and unlock loads more opportunities. So that's the interesting reverse way of starting a business.
No, I love it. It's more of a natural way, natural approach to it, just naturally falling into place, seeing something that's going to work well. And as you say, just helping people along the way is so much nicer, and everything else will naturally follow that. So let's dive into the business a little bit more then. So walk me through. I know we're mentioning founders and stuff already, but who would you say at this point is your ideal customer? Who do you love to work with the most? And then from there, how is it you help them and how do you support them?
Yeah. So I think even taking a little bit of a step back, like the context of the people that we work with are all startup founders.
Okay.
And they have a huge challenge, which is if they're not able to communicate the problem that they're solving, then in actuality, the startup dies. It's not like a traditional business where you say, okay, we've got no revenue, we might have to get a loan. That is the end of it. Because of that, the kind of founders that we love to work with are typically growth stage. They've figured out a little bit more of what it is that they're trying to put out to the world, what are the things that they'll need by way of team, by way of resource. And now they need to accelerate that. They need to go from what is essentially the idea on a piece of paper is now a baby, and the baby now has legs and it's started to walk. Our job is to come in and say, let's get that baby walking through to teenage years and beyond, basically. And the way in which we do that is really quite simple. The big focus is turning a founder's lived experience into stories that attract opportunities. And the medium that we use is cameras. We use video content to be able to say, okay, what's your big shiny goal? What is the big thing that you're actually trying to achieve? Is it more consumers? Is it bigger investors? Is it that you're trying to attract staff? Regardless of whatever that goal is, once we know what it is, we can make content that will attract the right kind of people that resonates with them. So our job is really making sure we're telling the right story rather than just filming because it's good to put content on the internet.
Amazing and very custom approach to them as well, because obviously you're mentioning there, what are your goals for this? Why are we filming the content? What is needed to, what is the outcome that we're looking for? And then with regards to the founders and the startups you're helping, is it more of a service based, like an online based product, or is it like something tangible and physical that they tend to need to sell?
So on their side, what they have is the
Yeah.
question.
So the
So
yeah.
it's a mix. We're predominantly in the tech space, so typically
Okay.
they don't have a physical product, which comes as a really fun challenge because sometimes there isn't really even a dashboard. Sometimes it's just a bunch of data, and they're
Yeah.
saying, look, we're solving for this problem using AI as an example, but they don't have a pretty dashboard yet because, like I say, they're not a fully formed company by the standards of traditional businesses. So a lot of the stuff that we do is also ideating with them. Okay, we want to show a future in which your company is operating at whatever the level it needs to be at. What would that dashboard look like? So we get to have a lot of fun with that. Not to say that it's always easy. Sometimes it is difficult to figure out what that could be, but that does also influence the roadmap a little bit to say, hey, this is a version of what it could look like. Obviously, we're not product designers, but it gives us an idea of what it could look like. And that's a really easy way for them to pitch to investors to say, hey, we need more investment and more capital to be able to get product designers to make this thing a reality.
Nice, amazing. And then, so walk me through then how you go. Is mainly done in person. What is it like to work with you?
It's a bit of both. So some of it's on
Okay.
person, some of it's online. A large part of the business actually, and this is, I guess, the fun part of what we do when we start, is the first thing we say to any client as part of their onboarding is, we're probably not going to touch a camera or record anything for the next 3 weeks, which is quite counterintuitive for most agencies. Most agencies will start filming straight away.
Yeah.
And the main reason why we don't do anything for the first 3 weeks is because actually, as part of that onboarding, we're trying to, like I said before, understand what the big goal is. But then we need to craft the story collaboratively. Our job isn't to say, we know everything about startups, so this is the story you're going to tell, and there you go, pay your money on your way. Our job is actually, we're trying to empower founders and CEOs to become better storytellers in the process of working with us, and therefore we do things collaboratively. So in those first few weeks, is really understanding what the narrative looks like on both sides, refining it, sharpening it, and then working backwards, obviously, having that date of, we're going to film on this day. And by the time they get to the filming day, rather than having to memorize a really long script and basically 2.5 minutes, 3.5 minutes of speaking, what actually happens is they've been part of a process where they've input the whole way through, and therefore they don't have to memorize a script. They're actually
Yeah.
just saying the things that they've spoken about. So they're taking, here's a pitch deck that we had from the last one, our last update from 2 months ago. Let's take this page here and let's expand it a little bit and put it into the video. So therefore there's less thinking, there's less, we don't really, not really fan of using teleprompters. Actually, on the day, it's just a couple of bullet points to say, you know what you're talking about. There's nothing crazy here. Let's just talk about the things that you enjoy and base it on the future. So yeah, the process is a bit of a mix of online, much like this, and then on the day, we pretty much spend half a day or a day once a month with our clients to give them a whole month's worth of content, which makes founders are busy, business owners are very
Yeah.
busy. So we try and keep it as light touch as possible to make sure that the heavy lifting is done on our side. That's the whole point of having an agency work with you.
Yeah, exactly that. And it's very like streamlined and easy on their end, even with the language that you're using, because as you say, it's already words they've said to you, it's conversations you've had, so it's just making it a natural approach to them. Awesome. And then from like a marketing standpoint as well, how do you go about acquiring your customers? So like what channels, what methods are you finding most effective for yourself?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting one, this one, because actually it's one of the biggest things that we teach as
Yeah.
part of that whole process. Because once you have a piece of video content, the main question is, where does it live? What do you do with it? How do you attract all of this attention? So a lot of our clients actually come off the back of my own LinkedIn, because I post content, 2 to 3 pieces minimum each week, just on founder-led storytelling. So everything about how to leverage your personal brand. And that's done on LinkedIn, largely speaking, because that's where decision makers are, and the types of people that we speak to are all founders. So a lot of them will see the content. Another area which is new as of the last 3 months, the last 3 months, are webinars and workshops. So online webinars and workshops that we're hosting. And these
Cool.
are really fun because actually, one, it's a great way to get lots of free knowledge about what you can do for your specific startup. But the second thing is there are breakout rooms in each workshop. It's like a big fan of collaborative work. So you get the opportunity to meet other founders. So that's been a big unlock by way of saying, actually, come get educated. If you want to do more, here is the path. And actually, if you just want to continue learning more about what it is that you can do for your brand on a kind of not ready to take action yet, then there's still content that comes out each week. So that's the main drive, I would say.
Nice. So a little bit of a mix of everything. So doing a little bit of outreach online, then as you say, having the like virtual workshops and just building that connection and growing your ecosystem. Do you like also run any form of paid advertisements or do like cold acquisition across any other channel, or is it just mainly organic content from yourself?
I'm proud to say today, no paid ads. I think if we were to do any, it would probably just be for the webinars. The main reason why we don't do any paid ads is because what is the actual product or service that we're selling? It's all organic ways of being able to attract attention. So if
Yeah.
we then start using hundreds and thousands of pounds on one piece of content that we think is really good and then push money behind it, it breaks the ethos. Yeah, I think we'd only reserve the ads for some of the things that come up in the future for more specific and targeted accelerators and
Yeah.
paid workshops and things like that.
Nice. So keeping within your boundaries and your values as well. As you say, you've got to walk the walk if you're talking the talk, which is really cool. And then Kenneth, do you have a team as well that's behind you, or do you like do all of this yourself? Are you wearing many hats and
Uh,
juggling?
Both, I guess, is the answer. I don't think there is one founder on this planet that doesn't wear 17 hats. However, I am, by way of business model, I'm a solopreneur, but I work with freelancers who
Me too.
basically know the business really well. Like I said, because the business was made in reverse order, I've been doing this type of work for a while. So the plan for 2026 is to grow that and be able to bring people in house. But I guess what's interesting at the moment is there are it's a really structured way of working, so there are no real surprises. So when it comes to a shoot day, like I said, that kind of 4 week run up or 3 week run up to the actual shoot day, when it comes to any of the team coming into film, they have a Notion portal and it's all the information you need is here. We basically have an hour meeting, like a check-in to say, is there anything that's going to be different about this shoot? But
Yeah.
in actuality, it's fairly systematic and predictable, which
Yeah.
makes it easy on all sides, basically.
Yeah. So do you do, I suppose a lot of pre-work as well is done ha beforehand for the day of the shoot, so you can just crack it all out and just really make the most out of your time.
That is
And
it.
then what is the plan for the next year then? So like when you think about the vision to scale, what does that look like for you? What is the ultimate goal?
Yeah, so I think this year's been a big one for learning. Like I mentioned, the webinar, something got introduced later on in the year. We've also introduced things like coaching, which was a really big thing because a lot of founders found a lot of value in the fact that in between the recording sessions, we're talking a lot about storytelling and
Yeah.
then talking about where they could use it. And it's actually, this is something I could use on a weekly by weekly basis. So taking those learnings from this year into next year, one of the really big things is we want to be better at being a resource for founders. I think this year we've shown up in a good way, but there's definitely more that can be done. And I guess the reason for that is from having lots of different kind of connections with different founders from all over the space, you'll find that there are lots of commonalities when it comes to issues that people are having. And it's great. You and I can sit here and talk about if you've specifically got a problem, I can potentially provide a solution to that, and then you go on your merry way, and life is fantastic. The difficulty with that is it stays between you and me. Over the past year, have basically collected what has essentially been a thread of the most common problems for people with their storytelling, from clients and sales calls and just general networking, and basically compiled together an accelerator. Still in the progress, but early next year we'll be launching what is like a 4 week accelerator to own your narrative. Just getting over that first hurdle of how do I get posting? What information do I need without the heavy kind of price tag? I think that's the most difficult part. Like full production is not something that is cheap, and most people aspire to do it, but they're waiting for the right moment. And I think that's going back to that original point of a startup dying because it's not able to communicate
Yeah.
properly. I don't think that it should only be unlocked once you have all of the money. I think there should be something in between that allows you to say, okay,
Yeah.
I'm happy to invest in something. That's a big thing for 2026. And the
Good
second,
job.
sorry,
No,
go
go
on.
for it. No, go for it.
The second thing that I think is quite important is community. I think the founder space is really quite fragmented. A lot of founders are there, they typically don't have co-founders at an early stage and growth stage. And because of that, they're doing a lot of these things alone. Every opportunity that we've had to put multiple founders in a space, whether it's like an event, a catch up drink, whatever the case is, people go away much happier because they're able to share the stories of what they're doing and what they're up to with somebody who's on the same page and same level as them. The accelerator is a bit of an excuse to be able to get and grow a bigger community of founders who are keen and avid storytellers, regardless of their level, but they are aligned in the fact that they want to do more, they want to be more and attract more.
Yeah, I love it. So just to help as many people as possible and founders at this point as well. I love the idea of a community as well because it is such a solo journey. You'll know yourself being a founder. Like it's just even having a camaraderie of people that just know what you're going through and can obviously help you out with tips and stuff is amazing. But just the bandwidth and the friendship you can get from it is really cool. And so, Kenneth, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your incredible journey and insight with us. Where can our listeners reach out to work with you and connect with you if they would like to do?
So the easiest way is going to our website, which I obviously imagine will be linked below, but it's www.scale-story.com. Then the kind of two main social medias that I'd say to be able to get more resource and be able to work with us at the same time would be looking at YouTube and also having a look at LinkedIn. My DMs are always open, probably read them more than WhatsApp, which interesting thing to reflect on.
It is. And many founders, again, might be able to relate to that as well. So, awesome stuff. Amazing. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, please do not forget to subscribe to Founders Future by wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with one of our team and discover how we went from zero to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. But until then, keep on climbing and we will see you on the next one.